Thank you so much. I know it was really emotional for all of us. Now from a very sweet kavitas, let's move forward to India Unbound, stories of diaspora literature that will be moderated by Shujauddin Shuja in conversation with Dr. Poornima Bhatt, Professor of History and Anthropology, Hood College, USA, Dr. Sadaf, a social worker as well as a very known academician, Atul Khanna, self-taught entrepreneur. Let's welcome all of them with a round of applause. Let's give them the bouquets.
First of all, I would like to thank
welcome, ma'am. Welcome. Very warm welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Welcome. Let's begin the session.
First of all, I would like to thank the organizer for arranging this session, special session on diaspora literature. I think this is the first session in the history of literary festivals that we will have exclusively on diaspora literature. Before we begin to this session, I would like to introduce our speakers. First of all, we have Professor Poornima Bhatt, who is a professor of history and anthropology at Wood's College, Maryland, USA. She has also her PhD from the University of Howard in African history. Professor Bhatt is currently, her research area includes historical and contemporary roles of women in Asia and Africa, global perspective on women, power politics, women's leadership in peace movements, impact of globalization on women, and more recently, African diaspora in India. Her recent book which published is African Diaspora in India, Assimilation, Change and Cultural Survival. She would be mostly speaking on this recently published book from Brooklyn last year, 2017. Then next we have Dr. Sadaf, who is an academician as well as a research scholar. She has also published a book called Parsi Diaspora, Expatriate Experience. She is a faculty member at IGNOU and she has recently published a book, Parsi Diaspora, Expatriate Experience and Nostalgic Discourse in 2016. She has also taught in the various universities, including India and abroad, particularly Prince Sultan Abdul Aziz University in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And the third speaker we have is Mr. Atul Khanna, who is an entrepreneur and also a writer who has recently written a book named Between You and Me, which covers a wide area of business, trade, technology, science, and also identity issues and so on. Now may I request Professor Poornima Bhatt to give briefly about account of her book, maybe in 10-15 minutes, then we will have question and answer sessions after that.
Can we have all this lovely audience up close and personal? Just walk up and occupy the chairs here and let's have an intimate conversation.
Okay, very briefly discussing my latest book. It's called The African Diaspora in India, Assimilation, Change and Cultural Survival. Now, it's a little bit of a challenge, a book that took me over 10 years. I'm going to try to cover in 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm hoping you will ask the questions later on, and I will only summarize briefly what I have done. My research for the book has focused on the so-called Siddhis of India. Some of you are already familiar with that. In Gujarat, they are called Siddhis. In Pakistan, they are called Shivdis. And in other parts, derogatory terms used for them are called Habashi. And the word Habashi in Arabic really is a negative term. It refers to people from Abyssinia, which was the term used for Ethiopia. But somehow it has taken a negative term. I prefer to use the term Siddhi or Siddhi Badsha. Okay? Siddhi Badsha is the term they use for themselves to separate themselves from any touch of slavery and basically to identify themselves with the royal families, the princely families of India. We are aware of the fact that the Siddhis have been around for about 1,000 years, perhaps 2,000 years. Now this is really quite amazing because the African diaspora or the African dispersal to India and beyond, to Asia, started really in the 1st century of the Christian era. We have an Alexandria sailor who talks about African slaves, ivory, other items being transported to India. So we have written documents going back to a very long time. The Siddhis or the ancestors of these Africans came to India not just as slaves, and that's very important to remember. Yes, there were slaves too, but there were also mercenaries, soldiers fighting voluntarily. There were sailors, there were concubines for the royal family, and there were pearl divers. So the descendants of Africans come from a variety of fields, not just from slavery. I have to mention to you that much of the world knows about slavery through what is called the Atlantic slave trade. Now, the Atlantic slave trade was what took in 3 centuries, 16th to the 19th century. It transported as many as 9 to 11 million slaves against their wishes, involuntarily, from the west coast of Africa to the New World. And the New World meant United States, Americas, it meant Brazil, it meant South America, it meant the Caribbean, Jamaica, Cuba, and Guadeloupe and Martinique, and so on and so forth. What is so interesting about the Siddhis in India is that first, the time period. They've been here for 2,000 years, okay? And that has very serious implications in terms of the cultural change, in terms of how they have adapted, in terms of how they have assimilated into Indian culture. And the Siddhis are not only found in India. In India, they are found mainly in Gujarat, in Goa, because the Portuguese brought slaves, in Karnataka, in Andhra Pradesh, to some extent in Sri Lanka, beyond that to the Maldives Islands, and also in Pakistan, where you still find a population of Siddhis called Makranis. They are known as Makranis because of the Makran coast. The The other interesting difference, and to me that is really important, is that the cities of India or Pakistan or Maldives or Sri Lanka, unlike their counterparts in the New World, in fact came to India via the Persian Gulf, Red Sea region. They were taken sometimes as slaves, and otherwise also, taken to the Middle East, where they were converted to Islam, the religion of Islam. And then they were brought to India. Now this is very important very important implication, because Islam, being followers of Islam, and they are coming mainly from the 8th to the 18th century, which is the period of the Sultanate in India. So coming to the Sultanate as Muslims, they were accepted quite readily. And even though sometimes they were slaves, other times soldiers, mercenaries, sailors, concubines, there was a potential for upward mobility, something that you would never find in the New World, in United States, Brazil, Cuba, Jamaica, or the Caribbean. The Siddhis not only rose to positions of high power, and I have in my book documented individual Siddhis who rose as commanders and commanded vast armies of Indians, and later on even established their own kingdom. Some of you may have heard about Janjira or Sachin near Surat, or Jaunpur, from where there's a wonderful tradition of classical Indian music. All three of those were ruled by the Siddhis, and in Janjira and Sachin, the Siddhi royal family ruled these kingdoms for over a period of 400 years. So they became commanders of army, they became rulers, and they amassed tremendous amount of wealth, some of them becoming traders and actually becoming patrons of art, literature, but art and learning and architecture. Those of you who are from Ahmedabad, I would urge you to go to Sidi Sayyid Mosque. Lot of Gujaratis, lot of Ahmedabadis, local people do not even know. They know of the beauty of the Jalis, but they do not know that Sidi Sayyid Mosque has been built by an African who was a former slave. So next time you go, pay tribute to this African who rose to positions of power and wealth enough to build a mosque. You may otherwise also be familiar with the shaking minarets in Ahmedabad. Once again, a building of technological ingenuity, and the shaking minarets was built by Sidi Bashir, again an ex-slave. In Aurangabad, you have wonderful mosques, tombs, buildings, palaces built by Malik Ambar. Again, a slave himself who got his freedom and became the de facto ruler of Ahmedabad. So in the Deccan, in Bijapur, in Berar, in Golconda and Ahmednagar, Siddhis rose to tremendous amount of position. I have about 5 minutes, so I'm going to. My interest in this, working with the Siddhis, was to ask myself, to what extent have they assimilated into Indian culture? And I was really struck by the fact that perhaps because many of them were Muslims, at least in Gujarat, but in Goa there were, in Portuguese, the Goa they became Christians. In Pakistan they became again Muslims. In Karnataka they are Hindus. So the Siddhis are adapting, they are assimilating into Indian cultures and the cultures of wherever they found themselves. Linguistically, and this was fascinating for me, I speak Swahili, is the language of East Coast of Africa. When I started studying the language of the Siddhis in Gujarat, in Patharkua, I found that there were words that they did not know even belong to Swahili language. So I'm asking them, what does Mukoki mean? What does Makoti mean? And they said, they will tell me in Gujarati, it means bread, it means house, whatever. They did not know that these are not Gujarati words. These are actually words from Swahili that they have retained. My argument here is that cultures retain many of the language. The other thing that some of you came here last night to see the dance of the Siddhis, the Thamar dance. It is music and dance where their culture has survived to the greatest amount. And their dance has nothing to do with Indian dances. Their dance is directly from Africa. So they have retained their culture to that extent in the realm of religion, when they worship or venerate their ancestors, in the realm of religion where they do spirit possession, which of course is found in Gujarati, Dhure Che, people possessed by the spirit of a goddess. The Siddhis have also, and in Africa, they have retained their culture in their music and dance more than every one of the 4 instruments that was used for last night's performance, was in fact, can be found in Brazil, can be found in Oman, can be found in Jamaica, but not in India. They are not Indian musical instruments. So finally, I want to say that we talk about identity formation, that the great challenge for any group, diasporic community, is how do you retain your culture and how do you adapt and absorb the culture of the local community. This is a real challenge for every one of us who's a part of the diaspora. And the CDs have done extremely well, and we will talk about how the diasporic CDs have in fact navigated this big challenge. And the reason, and I'm going to end up there, is that the Africans have a saying that the river that does not know its source, the river that does not know where it comes from, is destined to die. And every diasporic community that does not try to retain their culture to some extent is destined to disappear. So I think the CDs have done a wonderful job, and I look forward to having a conversation with you and answering your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will have question together after two speakers' presentation. May I request Dr. Sadaf to take over the session?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Sadaf and I have come from Lucknow. Today, as ma'am started talking about diaspora, the same thing we all will be discussing, the same topic. So I would start by saying that there are 2 factors which encourage any kind of diaspora. Those factors are pull factor or push factor. So these 2 things are responsible for the movement of people from one place to other place. The pull factor, when we see that we will get better opportunities in a country, better lifestyle, more comforts, it is called pull factor. That country or that place is pulling us towards itself. And the second factor, that is push factor, the circumstances, the situations, the conditions of our own country. When we find that the circumstances of our country are not very promising, are not favorable, not positive, then people start thinking of moving from that place and settle down at another place. So in a way, these 2 factors are interlinked with each other. Whenever we feel pulled towards a country or a place, it means that there is something which is pushing us away from our motherland. There is something that is pushing us away to leave our roots and reroot ourselves at some place. So these 2 things are basically responsible for any kind of diaspora, be it Jews diaspora, which is considered to be the beginning of the diaspora, be it African diaspora, or you can say that Indian diaspora also. The people who are moving from our country and settling down in the USA or Britain or any other
are working somewhere. In fact, the people who are going to Saudi Arabia or other Gulf countries and settling there down, so these two factors are making them to go there. Because whoever is going to Saudi Arabia in search of job, we can say that something was pushing that person to go there. He or she was not getting a good fortune here, that's why that person decided to go there. So, I would like to draw your attention towards Indian diaspora especially. And these things I have mentioned in my book also, but that book is specifically related with the Parsi diaspora. So Indian diaspora, presently the people who were settled abroad, either we call them PIO or NRIs. So how it started? When we were living in the colonial era, when we were ruled by the British, and they were extending their rule, they were extending their kingdom from this country to other countries, and they were colonizing the people of other countries also. So while doing this thing, for example, when they extended their kingdom to Sri Lanka and other places, there they needed people who can work for them. And basically that work was plantation, or we can say farming. So to do that thing, they needed people, the people who can listen to their orders, the people who can never negate them, the people who can be handled easily. And this easy handling will motivate the people of that particular country where they went, where the British were starting their kingdom, starting their rule. So for this purpose, they selected Indians from two specific states or two specific regions. Those regions were known as, presently we call them Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. So the persons or the people whom they carried from these two states, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, when they settled there, they formed the first kind of diaspora, Indian diaspora. We can say that it was on record first Indian diaspora. So many people might have gone before them also, but on record this is considered as the first Indian diaspora. So this diaspora was known, or presently we call that diaspora as Bhojpuri diaspora. The reason behind calling them with this name or giving this term to this diaspora is that the language of the people. They belong to a place where this particular Bhojpuri language was spoken. They belong to a place which was known as Bhojpur at that time. So that's why the first Indian diaspora was known as Bhojpuri diaspora. And then again the second important Indian diaspora, as they were extending their kingdom, so when they moved from Malaya and Sri Lanka towards other countries, they needed more people. The people who can work near Indian Ocean. So they carried these people with them. So these people who went with them, they did an agreement with them. And that agreement was that they took them initially for 5 years, and the agreement said that after 5 years they will be released or they will be free. And when they will be free, the choice will be theirs only. If they wanted, they could stay there or they could have come back home. But it never happened, as we all know that. They were never freed from that slavery. They had to work there and they died there only. So because of that particular agreement, which these poor people, these illiterate people could not pronounce the term, that's why they called that agreement as Girmit. So the people who went in diaspora on some agreement, they were called as Girmitiyas. So this was the second kind of Indian diaspora. The term given to it was Girmitiyas. The person who carried with an agreement for the 5 years. And the 3rd diaspora was known as Kangani diaspora. specific work of that man was to search for the people who can go with him, and obviously that man selected people from his own family, from his neighborhood, from the villages neighboring his own village. So these people who went through some resource person, those people were known as Kangani diaspora. So these are three important Indian diasporas which were the beginning of Indian diaspora. Now I will come back to our own country. I was telling you about the people who left the country and settled in some other places. But basically, as my book is based upon Parsi diaspora, these Parsis are the people who left their country and settled in ours. So presently we can say that the Parsis is a community which is doubly migrated. First of all, they had to leave Iran and they came to India, settled here. Afterwards, after colonization or after the independence of India, they again started moving towards the west, and this was the second diaspora, second Parsi diaspora, which is still going on with some different reasons. So you all might be aware of this community because most of the Parsis are settled down here in Gujarat, and when they landed in Gujarat only, at a place that is called Sanjan and Diu. So this is the community which is basically nearest to this state, and that community was in diaspora. I would not say is, because now they all have assimilated Indian culture wholly, along with keeping their own traditional values. So I think I should finish up because so I would like to discuss and talk about this community because this community has given so much to our country also. If you talk about education, if you talk about technology, if you talk about invention, and again if you talk about freedom fighters. This is the community which has contributed in every field. But the irony is that this community has not gained to its name the position and the recognition that it deserves. People know about Parsis, people know Jamshedji Tata. This is the first and the biggest name. Whenever we talk about Parsis or the Zoroastrians, this name strikes in our mind. But there are many others who have contributed towards the field of literature, towards the field of art also. But this community has not got enough to its name.
Thank you, Sadaf, for this introduction about diaspora, and particularly the Parsi diaspora. Now may I request Atul Khanna sir for giving his insight on his book, and especially he would be speaking about trade diaspora and his impression about being a businessman. I now hand over the session to Atul Khanna sir.
Very, very good afternoon. My learned colleagues on the dais spoke of push and pull. We are 600 million young people under 25, and the queues before foreign consulates are only increasing. Why are we pushing them out when we should be inviting everyone in the world in? So the subject of my book is, will 19th century governance systems be appropriate for 21st century young people, and what those structures could be. And that's why I also asked you to come in, because of it's between you and me, because you and I are conversing at a personal level. India's trade diaspora is not only the export or import of people. Diaspora is also the export and import of know-how, products, thoughts, philosophy. Diaspora is a much bigger thing. You just don't. Sending a person out is like exporting iron ore, and then you import the steel. So where is the value added happening? In India or outside India? So the whole trick of diaspora is to create an interdependent world which is not skewed towards value addition here or because in the world of science which I work in, it is said that as much as we may know, 99% of the knowledge of the world is yet to be discovered. And this 99% knowledge that is yet to be discovered, if it could be discovered in an interdependent format, as against exporting your best or importing their know-how, A, the speed would be better. It is what businessmen call cheaper, better, faster. And I think the creation of knowledge together with an interdependent world is a structure that mankind has not ever seen. You heard of slaves becoming local, becoming rulers, you heard of push, you heard of pull, but you have never heard of the world combining in an interdependent way what I call co-opetition. To compete but to cooperate, to create a knowledge that creates peace for humanity. These are the themes in my book, and I think these are important themes because war is not something, is not a legacy we want to leave to the young. Prosperity and a long civilization of peace and happiness is what we want to leave. The world has never been a fair place. People say, हमारे ज़माने में इतना अच्छा होता था, आजकल के बच्चों को देखो. मैं बोलता हूँ आजकल के बच्चों से अच्छा कोई है ही नहीं. There is no smarter, better, aesthetically, culturally, cosmopolitanly better citizen than today's young. Every new generation is smarter, quicker, more open-hearted. I just more Indian, more international. I can't see what's wrong with them. I only see one thing that's wrong with them, and that is structure. Do you know that 1,000 or 1,500 years ago, what was India's share in world trade? That was the first diaspora. 35%. 1/3, a little more than 1/3 of global consumption and trade was of Indian origin. Do you know what it is today? 0.3%. How much? Don't even feel like saying it, no? Now, how do you rebuild a structure that captures the energy of the world? Because there is no point relearning what the world already knows, combine it with ours and then produce something that is greater than the total of its parts. And this means a new democracy, a new politicracy, a new role for the citizen and a new empowerment. And we've got to face that because if ever there was a role for the young, all over, since timeless generations, the elderly are the wise and the experienced. Past 21st century is going to belong to the young. There is only one person who can beat it and can be its champions with artificial technology, robotics, mathematics, DNA, physics, combined with application engineering. It's beyond me. I just want to befriend the young. बुढ़ापे का सहारा बन जाए by helping them get on. This century and future centuries are going to belong to the young in terms of leadership, in terms of whose wealth will be greater than their parents. And towards that is a discussion we all should have as to how to create an interdependent world where you combine with knowledge, because knowledge corridors are what I built. Because I feel if people have studied together, been lectured by an Indian professor, I got a loan of 1,000 crores from an Estonian managing director of Nautic Investment Bank to set up a university in India because somebody like Mrs. Bhatt taught him. One thing I've learned from Europe is to be on time.
Thank you, sir, for quickly introducing the trade diaspora and the importance of youth and leadership with respect to international citizenship being calling as a citizenship. I have three quick questions, then I will keep the floor open for the audience. Let me ask three questions. If I ask one more, don't mind please. So first question to Professor Poornima Bhatt. I would like you to give more insight on the women's condition of Siddhi community and their citizenship status and education status, please.
Okay, a question after my heart, because for the last 15 years I've decided that all my research is going to relate to women. Okay? Women have been forgotten in history, they are overlooked, marginalized, and so I do that. So this is a very good time. Now in terms of CD women, it's not just CD women, but CD men also are in fact, most of them, the majority of them, marginalized, they are overlooked, they are neglected. And when I work with the CD community in, say, Patharpura in Gujarat, in Ahmedabad, they tell me, and I believe that, they say, we are totally forgotten. Nobody knows about us. At the time of elections, the politicians come in large numbers, they make promises, and then they go away and nothing happens. So the CD men and women suffer from the same marginalization. I sadly have to say that it is also not just discrimination which is economic, it is racism which is racist, and women suffer in some ways more than men do. I've always believed that women are the bearers of the cultural tradition of every society. And therefore, I think it is important to look at women, and CD women have waged a valiant fight to preserve their culture. Now, you may or may not agree with them, but in their veneration for ancestors, who are the intermediaries between the past, the present, and the future, in their continuation of spirit possession, in which somebody becomes powerfully possessed by a spirit, in their love of music and dance, their collective memory in terms of song. It is the CD women who have taken them. So of course, I'm partial to women, but I really do think that CD women are the ones who have safeguarded the CD culture. And to that extent, even in the Zaka, it is the women I see frequently. And so in some ways, they are perpetuating collective memory, language, customs, religious beliefs, and so that is really important. Does that answer your question?
You are also partial.
I know. I'm in good company here.
Can you talk about their citizenship status?
Citizenship? Well, that's a difficult question. It depends on which CDs we are talking about. If we are talking about CDs in Gujarat, at least 2 of the communities in Saurashtra and one other have backward class status. And this is very important because they get opportunities for education and jobs. But it really varies. But I think you go to Bombay, and you go to certain areas like Mira Road, and you see the CDs in a really miserable condition. So I think by and large the CDs are very correct in asking for greater visibility, in asking for greater rights. If Harijans can get the rights and Marathas can get the rights, why not the CDs?
Thank you. Second question from Dr. Sadaf. See, Parsi diaspora is a very interesting category, but when you talk of Parsi diaspora, how do they imagine about their homeland? See, they also imagine India is their homeland, and so how would you talk about this beauty?
As I said in the very beginning, that Parsis are doubly migrated community. So first of all, they migrated from Iran and settled here in India, and after ages, after years, they again started migrating towards west, and so many of them have settled there. So as you want to know that how they feel about their homeland. So obviously those who came from Iran and settled here in India, their homeland is still Iran. Their roots are still there. Because in Iran they had seen good days. They were the rulers. So when a ruler has to leave his kingdom and he or she or that ruler is coming to some other place and asking for shelter. So we can imagine the condition, we can imagine the mental status of the people at that time. A king leaving his entire kingdom, coming to an alien land with all his people, with all his men and women, and asking for shelter. Now, talking about the present situation, presently Parsis are a well-off community, most educated people, though they are very few in number, yet I think all of them are educated. Education is the foremost thing for them. So that is the reason they all are excelling in almost every field, and those who have migrated from India to West, their homeland is India. As we can feel in the literature created by these Zoroastrian or Parsi authors, for example, we can take the literature of Rohinton Misri. He still talks about India. All his novels are based in India. His short stories are about India. So somewhere in their mind, they are still living in their homeland. They are still rooted here. Though they have re-rooted themselves there as any other community would do in diaspora. It's not specific of Parsis, but it is for every community. If Muslims do any to a new place, they also settle there, re-root themselves. But their roots are in the country where they were born. So it's still Parsis, when they talk about their country, they talk about India. Now the younger generation, those who are still in migration because of some certain reasons, be it education or job, the reasons which apply among other communities to other people too. So for them, their homeland is India. They don't talk about Iran. The younger generation, when they talk about their homeland, they don't talk about Iran. They don't say that we had very good days in Iran. We were the rulers of Iran. No, they say that we belong to India. We are Indians. We are from Gujarat or Mumbai or any other place wherever his or her family is living.
Okay, thank you, Sadaf. Last question for Atul sir. It may be very personal, but if you don't mind allow me to ask this question. I saw that you have been awarded different foreign, like Sweden and German awards for your business, but your entire investment in India, it's in India. So, and you have extensively traveled Europe and other countries. So, why have you decided to be in India, and could you give your reason about this?
To put force on the fight. You know, Indian universities, they are bright kids. They are managed by people waiting for retirement. Indian governance is on the same level. Who is teaching you to create products? Put your hands up. Who is teaching you to pass civil service exams? Put your hands up. Almost all. We are creating universities to create largely administrative, clerical, whatever positions you want. 99% of my income comes from Europe, and it would have been a bigger 99% had I been local there. You have to have somebody here telling them this. you have to have somebody telling it like it is. It's not just a question of a book between you and me, it's also a question of daily interaction, of being able to tell cabinet ministers, bureaucrats, that listen, this is the potential of this country, don't kill it. I like India, I don't want to migrate, I travel, I take 30 flights a year. But it's important that somebody has to do it, because if we all migrate and create, then we are only adding to the general belief that we are very good in their systems but can't operate in our systems. Our systems, take out the bureaucracy, they are damn good, our people are damn good. ISRO chairman and I were talking the other day. I designed cars, trains for some of the biggest names in the world. I have boys from Gulbarga, Karnataka, everywhere. He told me, I put out a space mission, I don't have any IIT or MIT. So, to harness average potential and make it extraordinary, you've got to be rooted. You've got to be rooted.
Thank you, sir. Now I will open the question section open for the audience too. Yes, there is one question.
Sufism, that was his mighty community, or the religion of his mind, and cities, people that you have talked about, because both of them have some connection with Swahili. So that is the curiosity now.
Okay, thank you for your question. I hope everybody got the question. The connection between the Siddhis and the Sufis. Now, in some parts of Asia, such as Gujarat and in Pakistan, the Siddhis have a close association with the Sufis. In fact, they are Sufis. So if you go to Jammu or Talara in Gujarat, the Siddhis claim to be Sufis. If you look at the paintings from the royal families or whatever the time of the Deccan Sultanate, they portray Siddhi fakirs as Sufi saints and Sufi musicians. So they are very much believers in Sufi, and Sufism appeals to them very much. But this may not be the case in Goa, where they were converted to Christianity, and it is not the case in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, where the Sufis claim to be Hindus. There they are worshipping the goddess Elama, which is a local goddess. Now, I think the real strength of the Sufi is the ability to adapt to where they find themselves, okay? And this comes out of a community, a necessity of survival. If you are small in numbers, like 200,000 in India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and so on and so forth, you really have to adapt. What is amazing and remarkable to me is we are talking about identity here. When I have asked the Sufis anywhere and say, what is in India? What is your homeland? Okay? You talked about the Parsis thinking about Iran. The Siddhis always say that this is where we are. They never talk about the desire to return back, which is a deep desire for all diasporic people. They talk about being here. So Pan-African sentiments have not really arisen until the Obama election. And I found it fascinating. I was watching the Siddhi community during the Obama elections for presidency of the United States. first time the CVs who do see themselves as Indians they're glued to the television in Pathankua and Kanpur area, and they're saying, he is my man. And if he becomes president, our condition will improve because he looks like him. You know, there is something very poignant about that they have to look to an American president to gain equality and equal status, and not the country. None of them have ever talked about wanting to go back to Africa. This is their goal. Thank you.
Do you know that biologists are all agreed that the first human was an African? Biologists are all agreed that from the 26 chromosomes which have a million odd genes, less than half a gene of one chromosome constitutes color, black, white, brown. And if they could adapt to planet Earth, all other adaptations, there is, in my opinion, no greater risk. They are more virile, they are taller, they are sharper, they sing better, they sport better. They just don't have that much training.
Why are they poor?
It seems there are many hands which are raising, so I may allow one last question, and after that what we will do, we will have a discussion outside. All speakers will be available. I think from the middle man there is one question. Can you pass the mic?
Thank you all the panelists for providing lecture. I have two questions from the two panelists speakers. First question, Professor Poornima Madam, regarding you have talked about the upward mobility in case of city community across globe. We have also visited from the several districts in Gujarat. We have also conducted one field work in the city communities. We are from the Center for Diaspora Studies in Central Gujarat. So my question is that, Madam, what kind of social, cultural and political challenges you are looking into, particularly in the case of Gujarat? Because government of Gujarat have recognized city as a civil tribe, and they have also, you also have talked about the marginality of these particular communities. What kind of initiative have been taken by the government of Gujarat to solve this kind of issues? And the second question to the second speaker, Madam Sadaf, you have talked about two determinants of push and pull factors in the case of migration or diaspora. How do you look about the factors or determining factors to promote, to control, or to enhance the migration diaspora? So how do you look? Because if you look at the history of migration in the case of India and in the 18th, 19th century and 21st century, what are the aspects, particularly intervening factors you about in the context of migration diaspora?
I think I shall not ask permit you to ask third question. Can you please answer so that we are running out of time?
Okay, I'll try to be very quick. Though if there's anybody from the government here, I'm very unpopular. I think the Gujarat government has not done enough for the CVs. They have done symbolic things like Sports Authority of India should train CVs to be athletes so we will win more medals. They ask the CVs to perform at Republic Day parade dances. This is only symbolism. What CVs want is education and jobs. And until they get those two, all these symbolisms is worth nothing. So I think the government will.
Thank you so very much. And I know you have many questions, and as they mentioned, they are in the author's cabin. You're most welcome. Thank you so much, Dignitaries, and I would request Pinky Ma'am to participate. Pinky Ma'am? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. It was a lovely audience.
Ma'am. Sadaf ma'am. Atul Khanna sir. And Shujauddin. Thank you so very much. Thank you for your time, dignitaries.